JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon blasts call for hybrid work, tells employees not to waste time on petition. So basically, you got a fight on your hands.
Said, don't even waste
JP Morgan say get back in that office, and people are signing
time.
petitions trying to be activists at JP Morgan and saying that we don't want to get back into the office and we're going to sign a petition,
That's funny.
queuing it up.
We told you yesterday about a push from JP Morgan Chase workers to retain and expand the bank's hybrid work model. Some signed a publicly visible petition calling on CEO Jamie Dimon to reverse the decision to bring employees back to the office 5 days a week starting next month. Well, if you know Jamie Dimon, if you followed him at all, you might have anticipated his response, which he did give at an animated town hall meeting yesterday, according to a recording that was reviewed by Reuters. When he was asked about that petition, he responded, "Don't waste time on it. I don't care how many people sign that effing petition." Except I don't think he said effing. Instead,
Oh,
Dimon stressed that employees have a choice whether to work at JP Morgan or not. Dimon said some staff didn't pay attention during Zoom meetings, which reduced their efficiency and their creativity. He said there is, in his words, zero chance that he will leave in-office requirements up to the managers because he said the abuse that took place is extraordinary. He asked departments for more efficiency, including 10% cuts in reports, meetings, documents, and training sessions. We'd all appreciate that around here.
The lifeblood of middle management. And they want to cut those things.
I'm still overdue for training
Cut-
sessions I was supposed to do last year.
cut them more than 10%.
I think we all anticipated yesterday when we first heard about this petition that that might be Jamie's response.
mm.
Jamie say, F that petition. Get your back in this office. I don't care about no hybrid. You better get back in here 5 days a week. What are your thoughts?
You know, I appreciate the directness of it. Like I really, I feel like sometimes the corporate culture we be like, oh, we're talking corporate speak sometimes, and it's like you got translated, but I did not have to
Yeah.
translate what he just said. I really understood what he said. He made it very clear. If you are an employee and your check say JP Morgan Chase, expect to earn that money in a building for 40 plus hours a week. Um, Now I do think it just kind of highlights the interesting it puts like a spotlight on the dynamic that happens within companies that maybe you don't think about that dynamic of, 'cause especially if you're a low level employee, you don't think about, you just think, oh, the management, the bosses, but it's levels. He's a CEO and he's almost kind of clashing with middle management, and it's like he's almost airing them out a little bit, like, nah, they got a little sloppy during this Zoom stuff, so we not even gonna. I can appreciate that aspect of saying like, nah, I'm tightening the ship, like, and they're talking as if they knew him. I'm not familiar with him. I kind of want to look into him now, but of course,
Jamie Dimon?
mhm,
Oh man, that's yeah, you gotta look
I'm
into
not
Jamie
familiar.
Dimon. Is he a big dog in the banking world?
But yeah, and I think why I'm more, because if this was tech, if this was like a different type of company, a startup, I'd be like, man, why he so rigid? But this is banking. This is the CEO of what, the second biggest bank in the country. Like, bruh, okay, he can't be. This is not Meta or something like that. You know what I'm saying? This is different. But the lazy part of me, of course, is like, I love remote, I love hybrid, but I get what he's saying. I think I get what he's saying. It'll be interesting to see, what happens to their employee head count. Like you mentioned, some people might not be able to accommodate that, but we're gonna see. It looks like, I don't think JP Morgan Chase, I think they're in a position to where they can be picky and say, hey, if you don't want to come back, you know what I'm saying? We'll catch up with you later.
Yeah. And so to talk about that a little further, now JP Morgan, they have announced layoffs for 2025 and
Damn.
more cuts will be expected. So fewer than 1,000 employees will be laid off in February, and the bank is planning to announce cuts in mid-March, May,
Mhm.
June, August, and September. Despite the layoffs, JP Morgan Chase is still actively hiring in many areas and working to redeploy impacted employees. So you can become an activist if you want to. Uh, and it's the mental COVID messed everybody up. Not well, it didn't mess everybody. It gave everyone a different view,
Mhm.
but it went from in the office every day for a lot of people to the Zoom and Teams, and you're in that direction. And so now, and so that's 5 years, right? Man, that's dang, 2020.
Yeah, yeah,
Woo.
it started adding up.
And so now it's a hard shift back to the other way. And so psychologically, and just from an adjustment period, that's a lot to process.
hmm
Um,
that's and it also makes me think about the Gen like because I can only bring a Gen Z perspective, but I'm thinking about Gen Z and I guess I don't really care about younger. They're not working yet, but I'm just saying I think my generation probably only knows that hybrid slash fully remote life. We don't know that. I've never worked fully in person before. I went to school in person, but that's different. And so I just it just makes me think about how you that might not it might not affect the policy, but it might affect how you the messaging. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
so, but also it makes me curious on just the thoughts of like people like you, people who've done it, who've been in office 5 days a week, and it just was never even a thought. Like I can see how people will be like, nah, I'm yearning back for that. You know?
yeah. One, my takeaways, one, I'm like you. Just tell me where you stand. Don't give me that corporate speak. So I actually, one, I can appreciate him saying, look, this is what we doing. Like it or don't. Get up out of here. Go find another role. You don't need to be an activist. You don't own it. This is what we're doing. Either you agree or you don't. That's the benefit of owning your own company. Now he's the CEO. He has a lot of shares. He's not, he's not the creator of it, but at the same time, he's calling the shots. That's his role.
He like the coach or something or
He's the
GM.
CEO. So if this is the play that we're running, you don't have a say in this. Either you're gonna run the play or we're gonna find someone else that's willing to run the play, whether you like it or you don't. It's not, and you can decide, that ain't gonna work for me. Okay, because you are the CEO of your life. But what happens is you can't be an activist at someone else's table.
Mm-hmm.
You could do whatever you want to do if you built the table, but if you didn't build it, you got to play by the rules of the person that built the table, or at least the person is calling, or the table is built, but then this person has been elected or voted or hired to run the table, and they're telling you this is how we're running this table over here. Get on board or don't. And so I just think you're wasting a lot of energy if you're trying to change the table, change the system, change it. No. Either you're gonna get in the office or you're not. Uh, and you're gonna go to the office or not. And I know it sounds like so black and white. I'm like, man, it just seems so cold. I just appreciate the blunt forwardness. This is what it is, because you're not sweeping it under. And if they are doing that, then hey, correct me. But they're not sweeping it under low performer. So just so they can make some cuts.
Yeah.
They're just saying, no, this is what we're doing, getting that office. Now, that don't mean that they're still gonna do layoffs. And so this is just a part of the corporate game. It just go back to when you running your business, Keon Inc., KB Inc., you have to navigate. If you're going to play this corporate game, you got to understand that this is a part of the game. And so you got to make sure you're setting up other things for yourself too in this game. You just need to know what game you playing. That's why some people that totally opt out of the game and they like, no, I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm entrepreneurship 100%. I'm not doing that thing. I'm not. And so you can't have an employee mindset and then be trying to like demand things at someone else's table. Like that's insane.
But the crazy part is that's a game too. It's just a different type, like entrepreneurship. But I know we talk about sports all the time, but man, I think that I think that's a really good analogy, especially like on the employee front. Like I know we talk about, we think about, oh, NBA, NFL, they just got the dream life, they're making all that money. But like I said, they're W-2. They're like they're the highest paid W-2s or whatever. But we look at the stuff they have to deal with. Even their job comes with stuff. You could go to sleep working in Dallas, wake up in Toronto or something like that. You're like, what the world? My kids, I just enrolled my kids in my such and such. I just bought the car and the house. But we look at it like, oh, it's whatever. It's for them. It's whatever. But like you said, it's what comes with the game of W-2. It's all sport in its own regard. But I'm saying you can self-eject and be like, I don't want to play this game. I don't want to play by their rules. I don't want to play with the team. But you go to entrepreneurship route, that's almost like going to a solo sport, like going to play tennis or going to play golf or something. Like you still gotta. The point is there has to be a system in place that you follow. Now, when you're at a company, they're putting a system in place for you. Like we just mentioned, they're putting rules and stuff in place for you to follow. But if you jump into that entrepreneurship boat and you don't put a system in place for yourself to follow, you're just gonna be, if it's a leaderboard, you're gonna be at the bottom. You're gonna be getting whooped. You know what I'm saying? By other tennis players that's putting in the work.
Yeah. Yeah, that's real. That's real. Um, hey, give me the option. I'll say I want to do it or I don't. I'm not gonna fight you on it. Um, but as I always say, make sure you're not operating in your emotion. Emotions are okay, but when it comes to your family, you can't be making knee-jerk decisions until you have another plan, strategic
Mm,
plan. And a lot of time, and the thing is, there been, you know how in sports, some people telepath the pass and it gets intercepted because they're looking there and then they
yeah.
go there. In the NFL, you can't do that. Heck, in regular sport, like even if it wasn't NFL level, if even if you play an intramural, if you see somebody like they're staring down who they're gonna throw the ball to,
Right.
they throw it, you can pick it off.
Right.
If you decently athletic, same thing with the companies. They've been telepathing, we're going back into the office, get ready. So this isn't a surprise. They've been saying, get ready, it's coming. And so they've been saying this. So you you just hunker down and you just like, oh no, they'll make some adjustments. And no, if they're saying that they're going to do this and they're months out, you in my head, I'm thinking, okay, is that going to work for me or not? And if it's not, cool. LinkedIn.com,
Right.
networking. I'm setting up coffee chats strategically
Yeah.
with people all the way up until that point to where I'm at least exploring options if that's a huge deal breaker for me. But I'm not going to be kicking and screaming, and then like be shocked when they implement and say, okay, Nick, the time is here. We're going back. Well, maybe we can do hybrid. No, 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 no. Get back in that office. And so my thing would be make sure I would have been working on a plan. Like if I'm like, I ain't doing it, I'm not doing it. I will not do it. So those are three different ways I went slang, and but the other part of it is then we got to take accountability. We got to take ownership of our life. And so I'll leave you with that. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but life has always been that way. This is America, baby. Like life is not fair. It's not fair. Life is hard. It's never meant to be hard. Choose your hard. Keep the control. Understand this is the corporate game and stay encouraged. But you have to stay in control. Don't become a victim to all this stuff. Like feel your feels, but then chart out your path and pivot.